Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. We will be resuming our weekly word-to-word translation of the Holy Quran class. And today we'll be starting with the ruku number 13 and verse number 230. So the way we conduct this class is first the correct recitation and one or two rules of tajweed to refresh your memory. And then the next step is word-to-word translation and then followed by running translation. And sometime I also highlight some of the important points that have been mentioned by the promised Messiah alayhi salam and as well as the Khulafa of the promised Messiah alayhi salam in their commentary. So today we'll start with verse number 230. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الطلاق مرتان فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان ولا يحل لكم أن تأخذوا مما آتيتموهن شيئا إلا أن يخافا ألا يقيم حدود الله فإن خفتم ألا يقيم حدود الله فلا جناح عليهما فيما افتدت به تلك حدود الله فلا تعتدوها ومن يتعد حدود الله فأولئك هم الظالمون. The first rule that I'd like to highlight is whenever there's tanween followed by ba, letter ba, that tanween sound or the noon sound turns into meme. This is called the rule of iqlab. So whenever it tanween or noon sakin is followed by letter ba, it turns into a sound of meme, that sound of noon. So in this case, فَإِمْسَاكُمْ بِمَعْرُوفٍ, and you will prolong it a little bit. Same thing with this one. أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. So this is one rule that I wanted to highlight. The other common mistake that people make, they, instead of pronouncing this hududullah, they pronounce this ha with fatha. That is incorrect. So please keep in mind, this is hudud, there is dhamma on ha. So please make sure when you're reciting it, you're mindful of that. So we'll just go to the translation now. At-talaku. At-talaku, the divorce. Marratan, twice. At-talaku marratan, the divorce is twice. Fa-imsakum, retaining. Bi-ma'rufi, be with. Ma'rufin, becoming manner. Ma'rufin, becoming manner. Or tasrihun, sending away. Tasrihun, sending away. Bi-ihsanin, be with. Ihsanin, kindness. Wala, and not. Yahillu, it is lawful. Wala yahillu, it is not lawful. Lakum, for you. An, that. Ta'khudhu, you take or you will take. An ta'khudhu, you take or you will take. وَلَا يَحِلُّ لَكُمْ أَن تَأْخُذُوا. It is not lawful for you to take mimma from what ataytumuhunna you have given them. Ataytumuhunna you have given them. Shay'an anything. Shay'an anything. Illa except an yakhafa they both fear. Illa except an that yakhafa they both fear. Allah cannot. Yuqima they both observe. Yuqima they both observe. Hududallahi limits of Allah. Hududullah limits which Allah has placed. So in if khiftum you feared. In khiftum, so if you feared, Allah cannot. Yukima, they both observe. That if you are fearful that you won't observe both hududallahi, limits by Allah, limits that have been placed by Allah. Fala, then no junaha sin. Fala junaha, then there is no sin. Alayhima, upon both of them. So there is no sin upon both of them. Fi in ma what iftadat, redemption she gave. Iftadat, redemption she gave. Bihi for this. Bihi for this. Tilka, these, hududallahi, limits set by Allah. Tilka hududallahi, these are the limits set by Allah. Fala, so not, ta'tadu, you transgress. Ta'tadu, you transgress, ha it. Fala ta'taduha, so you don't transgress it. Waman and whoso yata'adda, he transgresses. Waman yata'adda, so whoso transgresses hududallahi, limits of Allah, limits placed by Allah, fa'ulaika, so those whom they az-zalimun are the transgressors. They are the transgressors. Running translation. Such divorce may be pronounced twice, then either retain them in a becoming manner, or send them away with kindness. And it is not lawful for you that you take anything of what you have given them, meaning your wife, unless both fear that they cannot observe the limits prescribed by Allah. But if you fear that they cannot observe the limits prescribed by Allah, then it shall be no sin for either of them in what she gives to get her freedom. These are the limits prescribed by Allah, so transgress them not. And whoso transgresses the limits prescribed by Allah, it is they that are wrongdoers. So a couple of points. First of all, Islam is the only religion that gives women rights to divorce. She can get divorced. No other religion has actually given that right before. 1400 years ago, by the grace of Allah, Allah Ta'ala gave this right to Muslim ladies. The other thing that has been injection in an unfortunate situation, Allah Ta'ala is guiding us that we should always make sure that even in such unfortunate situation, we should be always keeping in mind that we treat one another with kindness, especially our spouses. So this is something to remind ourselves, and this is often forgotten when it comes to this unfortunate situation. Now, moving on to verse number 231. فَإِن طَلَّقَهَا فَلَا تَحِلُّ لَهُ مِن بَعْدُ حتى تنكح زوجا غيره فإن طلقها فلا جناح عليهما أن يتراجعا إن ظنا أن أن يقيم حدود الله وتلك حدود الله يبينها لقوم يعلمون. فإن then in if talakaha he divorced her. فإن talakaha if he divorced her, fala tahillu then not fala then not so not tahillu she is lawful lahu for him. So once a person divorces his wife, then she does not she becomes unlawful for him. Mim ba'du thereafter, hatta until tankiha she marries zawjan husband ghayrahu other than him. Fa then in if talakaha the second husband divorces her, fala junaha then there is no sin alayhima upon both of them an yataraja'a that they both return to each other. In if zanna they both think an that yuqima they both observe hududallahi limits prescribed by Allah Vatilka, and these are hududallahi, limits prescribed by Allah. Yubayyinu, he makes clear ha it. Yubayyinuha, he makes it clear. Liqawmin, for the people, ya'lamun, they know. The running translation would be, and if he divorced her the third time, then she is not lawful for him thereafter, until she marries another husband. And if he also divorce her, then it shall be no sin for them to return to each other, provided they are sure that they would be able to observe the limits prescribed by Allah. And these are the limits prescribed by Allah, which He makes clear to the people who have knowledge. So in this verse, Allah the Almighty puts another restriction. Before giving talaq the third time or divorce the third time, one should really think about it, that if this is what he wants. Once the third talaq or the third divorce have been given, then Allah Ta'ala says that there is no point of return, because these are the limits of Allah, they should be respected. So that's why one needs to be extremely careful what he does. So that's why Allah the Almighty said, if the divorce has been given the third time, then they cannot return to one another because they become unlawful for one another. And then if only if she marries another person, and even that person naturally divorces her for some reason, and then they can return to one another. But other than that, they cannot. So some non-Ahmadis, actually many non-Ahmadis, they explain this concept as halala, which is, of course, the promised Messiah Islam has guided that this is something, an innovation, and we don't follow such innovations. Moving on to verse number 232. وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَأَمْسِكُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ سَرِّحُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ وَلَا تُمْسِكُوهُنَّ ضِرَارًا ومن يفعل ذلك فقد ظلم نفسه ولا تتخذوا آيات الله هزوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم وما أنزل عليكم من الكتاب والحكمة يعظكم به واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله بكل شيء عليم. Now, verse number 232, which is going to be the last verse of today. وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ. وَإِذَا, wa means and, إِذَا mean when, طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ. The here, qaf the second, will make it kalkala. طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ. طَلَّقْتُمُ, you divorced. An-nisa, wives. وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ, and when you divorce your wives, then balagna ajalahunna. Then balagna, they approach, ajala, period, limit, hunna, there. So they approach their period or limit. Fa'amsikuhunna. Then amsiku, you retain, hunna, them. Fa'amsikuhunna, then you retain them. Bima'rufi, in a becoming manner, in a respectful manner, in a becoming manner. O sarrihuhunna, or sarrihuhunna, you send them. Sarrihuhunna, and you send them. Bima'rufin, in a becoming manner. Bima'rufin, in a becoming manner. Wala tumsikuhunna, wa and la not. Tumsiku, you retain. Wala tumsiku, and you do not retain. Hunna, them. Diraran, wrongfully. Litatadu, so that tatadu, you transgress. Litatadu, you transgress. Waman, whoso. Waman, and whoso. Yaf'al, he does or he will do. Dhalika, this. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ, so whoever does this, فَقَدْ, then surely, ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ, ظَلَمَ, he wronged, نَفْسَهُ, himself, his soul. Whoever does this, he wrongs his soul. وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا, and la not تَتَّخِذُوا, you make or you will make, آيَاتِ اللَّهِ, commandments of Allah. آيَاتِ اللَّهِ, commandments of Allah. Huzuwa, in jest, in mockery. وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا, and do not make the commandments of Allah as a jest, a mockery of them. وَاذْكُرُوا, and remember, نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ, favor of Allah, عَلَيْكُمْ, upon you. وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ, and remember the favor of Allah, which He bestowed upon you. Wama anzala, and what He has sent down. Wama, and what anzala, He has sent down. Alaykum, upon you. Minal kitabi, from the book. Minal kitabi, from the book. Wama anzalallahu alaykum minal kitabi, and whatever He has sent down from the book. Wal hikmah, and wisdom. Wal hikmah, and wisdom. Ya'izukum, He exhorts you. Ya'izukum, if He exhorts you, meaning Allah exhorts you. Bihi, with it, meaning with the book. Ya'izukum bihi, He exhorts you with it. Wattaqullaha, and you should fear Allah. Wa'lamu, and remember and know. Anna Allah, that Allah, bikulli shay'in alim, He knows everything. Be with kulli, all shay'in, things, alimun, all knowing. And remember, Allah Ta'ala knows everything. Allah Ta'ala has the knowledge of everything. So in this verse, in the previous verses, Allah the Almighty spoke about divorce and when divorce is matured, then what happens. And now Allah Ta'ala has given in these verses, in this verse, some other guidelines and commandments with regards to divorce. And I'll just read out the English translation and we'll finish with this translation. Verse number 231, translation is, and when you divorce your wives and they approach the end of their appointed period, then either retain them in a becoming manner or send them away in a becoming manner. But retain them not wrongfully, so that you may transgress. And whoso does that surely wrongs his own soul. And do not make a jest of the commandments of Allah. And remember the favor of Allah upon you, and the book and the wisdom which He sent down, which He has sent down to you, whereby He exhorts you. And fear Allah, and know that Allah knows all things well. Thank you so much. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim innaka Hamidum Majid.